Archive Inquiry is a solution designed and developed by Professional Advantage. Based on our popular ad hoc reporting tool, Advanced Inquiry, the solution allows you to access historical Infor SunSystems ledger transaction data and additionally iPOS procurement history in a situation where you've made a decision to move away from Infor SunSystems to a replacement ERP solution. Typically, when moving to a new ERP solution, essential data will be migrated to the new ledger in the form of opening balances or a selection of transactional history. There is often, however, a proportion of data that will not be migrated, and this will remain in some systems for a period of time for compliance purposes or need to be exported into another format for periodic access. The requirement for this access can be costly and burdensome on your IT department. Historical access licenses will be required for Sun Systems, and an active Infor SunSystems application layer would need to be maintained to provide access. Where data has been exported from Sun Systems to another format, it can prove hard to make effective inquiries on the data and present results in an understandable way. Archive Inquiry addresses all of these issues by allowing you to maintain access to transactional information that has not been migrated without having to purchase the Sun Systems Historical Access license or maintain the active Sun Systems application layer. Based on the ever-popular Advanced Inquiry solution, the system allows finance and business users to inquire on historical information in the same fashion as with a live Sun Systems environment. Archive Inquiry offers extensive selection criteria, drill down, grouping, and export functionality, allowing you to quickly answer your one-off queries. All you need to lever the power of Archive Inquiry is to maintain an active copy of your old Infor SunSystems SQL database. Archive Inquiry connects directly to the database using standard Professional Advantage integration features. No SunSystems licenses or application layer required. Archive Inquiry is due for release in July-August 2021 and supports all functionality seen in the standard Advanced Inquiry system. It is compatible with all versions of SunSystems that may have been running historically, and it allows you to confidently transfer only the data you need into your new ERP solution while still giving the ad hoc access required at your fingertips. In order to support older versions of SunSystems, there are some database requirements when implementing Archive Inquiry. The system runs natively against SunSystems version 6 SQL databases, but also works against other SunSystems databases, such as versions 4 and 5. In order to do this, during an implementation, the SunSystems SQL database is updated to emulate a version 6 database for the purposes of Archive Inquiry access. This does not affect any other ledger data. The system requires SQL databases to be running in MS SQL 2019 or higher. Archive Inquiry allows you to benefit from the same capabilities as the Professional Advantage Advanced Inquiry module. A typical starting point could be to extract data from the SunSystems ledger or from iPOS procurement information. If we click Ledger Inquiry, we have options here to allow you to choose for detailed transactional extraction or for summary totals. This would typically be done by choosing a ledger from within SunSystems, and we can choose from multiple different ledgers, whichever exist within your SunSystems environment, and then choose how the totals will be calculated. In this case, the default is by account, although we could add a selection to make subtotals by a number of different factors across the account or the ledger information. So things like T-code balances or transaction analysis balances, or potentially by things such as journal type. In this case, I'm going to extract information based on account totals. We can obviously choose across multiple business units within SunSystems, and there are many other selection criteria that can be applied as part of the criteria. So we can look at account information, transactional information, such as accounts, periods, transaction references, etc., along with journal information, allocation, assets, account analysis, transaction analysis. There are many options. So basically, any extraction that you wish to make against your SunSystems ledger and incorporating other reference data such as account tags can be dealt with within the system. So in this case, I'm just going to extract based on pure account balances across my entire ledger. You'll see that the transactional extraction in Archive Inquiry is exceptionally quick, even on high transactional volumes. In this case, you can see I now have a set of account balances coming directly from my actual ledger. and this could be the information I'm looking for. So I'm seeing these balances as they are. However, if I wish to, I can drill down into this information by clicking on any of the totals. So we took my service sales values here. If I double click, this will then give me a list of all the transactions that make up the balance that I was just looking at. So you can now see a selection of various ledger transactional fields such as period, journal number, journal line, etc. If we wanted extra columns in this selection, we can right click and then choose to edit the column structure. This then presents all of the possible fields available within your ledger transaction and additional fields coming from the account information, and even things such as suppliers for addresses and other information such as that. So I can bring into the grid data that is from both the account side, reference data side, and the transactional side of the inquiry. So if we go to general here, I may want allocation markers. Perhaps I want to bring in the debit credit symbol. Maybe I want to bring in the journal name or the journal type, something like that. So any of these fields are available to me. So if I then run this extraction, we'll now see that I will have the extra columns appearing in my extracted grid. So once we've extracted the transactional information we're after, bearing in mind that advanced inquiry and archive inquiry are both inquiry tools rather than structured reporting tools, I can then manipulate the data in a number of ways. If we look at the column headers, I can sort up and down by any of the columns just by clicking on them. I do have extensive filtering capability, so this could be by data sitting within the column, or I could use the custom filter. And this means I can choose to make some logical arguments about data within the column. So if I was looking for something that contains maybe sales, that would then go and filter the information based on that criteria. Down at the bottom, we can see now I have a continuation of this filter. I can turn it on and off at any time, but I can also customize it more extensively to allow for multi-column filters. So you're able to add as many different arguments to the filter as you like, and then choose across any of the columns that are available within the grid. So I could do period equals something as well as description containing sales. So it's a very flexible and easily used customization there. Within the grid, we also have the ability to move columns around, reorder them any way we wish, and we can also group and produce subtotals where required. So if I wanted to see a summary by period, if I drag this here into the grey area and let go, you'll now see that we have the summary of the grid based on the periods that existed within it here, and I can see the transactions just by opening up a little node there. This can be continued in the form of a pivot table. So if I wanted to then see it by transaction date, if I drag that up as well, I now have period by date information, and again the totals. We can turn the subtotals on or off if we wanted to, and we can turn the totals on or off if we wanted to. So a very flexible, easy environment for manipulating and understanding the data within the ledger. We can extract information into Excel from Archive Inquiry. So here we have the ability to just drop our notebook directly into Excel using whatever formatting we've actually had on the screen at that point. And using the advanced export function, we can also format the exported worksheet with various colors, with headings, with data rows, etc., to make it look more attractive or in a form that we feel is appropriate. We also have an extraction called a pivot grid. This is where columns within the actual extraction can be dragged into these grid tables for a column and a header, and then we can see data using that sort of pivot grid functionality. So for example, if I take journal type, add it into my data row, maybe I want period into my data column, we can actually bring data through into this new pivoted format to see the information as we feel fit. So another quite powerful piece of functionality within the system. If we move back to a general extraction, we do actually have the ability to tile our windows, so we can see multiple extractions and the drill downs that we've made from that on the same page. We can also tile it up and down, left and right, so this means we could look at totals and drill down an extraction of those totals on the same screen, which is quite a useful piece of functionality. And if I go back to my grid, We can actually, from within here, drill to source transactions that may be sitting within another professional advantage system, such as CSB data or bank rec data, if you've got some allocations that have occurred there. And we can apply extensive filters on the selection. We can sort and actually maintain custom drills to other SQL databases as well, where there is a reference that is relevant for this. So advanced inquiry, very easy to use, very useful. We can actually run multiple inquiries at the same time, and we can also save an inquiry. So if I wanted to save this, I could go and add a new folder. These folders are at the database level. I could give it a name, so I call this demo 1. And when we save this, it will be held within a folder and we can run the inquiry at any time. So this means it's very easy to reuse inquiries within archive inquiry. So I could actually go File and Open, and this would then show me my folders. I could go and find demo 1 and run this, and it would extract the data in the way that I had originally configured. So it is reusable, and we can control access to these folders for different user groups within your organization. If you did use iPOS, Archive Inquiry does have the ability to look at archived data from that system as well, because it does reside within the single SunSystems database environment. So we can bring out data related to potentially invoices, requisitions or purchase orders, etc., and do the same sort of manipulations and selection across various areas of the transactional data. So here, invoices, I could actually extract all of my invoices from iPOS. Here, I've got a few. And this is showing me iPOS data, so unit cost, quantity, value, things like that. So if you do have a situation where you were historically using iPOS against SunSystems and you've moved away to a new ERP, you can use this to see the history of procurement data that still exists within your SunSystems database, as well as drilling down into the ledger data within the SunSystems environment. So archive inquiry, similar to advanced inquiry, a very powerful tool, very flexible and easy to use. There's very little training in relation to archive inquiry. Most people can pick up how to use it very, very quickly, and certainly something to consider in terms of allowing you access to that historical transactional information that you may not have migrated to your new ERP without having to maintain your SunSystems application environment for historical purposes. If you are considering making a move away from SunSystems to another ERP solution, or indeed have already made that transition and you would like further information on archive inquiry, please feel free to contact Professional Advantage at info_UK at professionaladvantage.co.uk.